Welcome back to Mega Stadiums. Summer 2026 is, by some distance, the busiest stadium construction window English football has ever seen. No league games, a World Cup dominating the football conversation everywhere else. And back home, cranes are up, houses are coming down, and concrete is being poured at more Premier League and EFL grounds simultaneously than at any point in the sport's history. We've covered several of these projects individually already. This is the one video that puts them all in the same place. Every major English stadium currently under construction right now, and exactly how far each one has actually got. Let's get started. Etihad Stadium, Manchester City. We're starting with the only project on this list that's finished, because it tells you what all the others are working towards. On the final day of the 2025-26 season, Manchester City opened the newly expanded North Stand and named it after the man walking away from the touchline for the last time. The Pep Guardiola stand added more than 7,000 seats, pushing the Etihad past 61,000 and into the top 4 biggest club grounds in the country. It's part of a wider £300 million campus transformation that includes Medlock Square, a 401-room hotel, a club museum, and enough restaurants and bars to make the Etihad a 7-day destination rather than a 3 hours on a Saturday one. A statue of Guardiola is coming too, 10 trophy-laden years, marked in steel and concrete. While the rest of this list is still mid-build, City have already delivered, and that's exactly why it's the perfect place to start. Vitality Stadium, AFC Bournemouth. The smallest ground in the Premier League is finally getting fixed, and the timing could not be better. Bournemouth's 11,300 capacity home has planning approval, secured in May, to grow to just over 20,000 seats. A new 7,000-seat South Stand, all 4 corners filled in, and the North and East stands extended. What makes this one sing is the context. The approval landed in the same week Bournemouth secured 6th place and European football for the first time in the club's history. Contractor Stadium Structures is already on site, prioritizing enabling works, utilities, and turnstile relocation this summer, so the Cherries can keep playing at Dean Court throughout. 2 corner infills should be ready shortly after the new season kicks off, with the rebuilt South Stand following through 2026 to 27 and full completion targeted for 2027. A club that spent a decade being told its stadium didn't fit its ambition is now building the stadium to match it. Power Court, Luton Town. Luton's stadium story continues almost in spite of what's happening on the pitch. Back-to-back relegations have dropped the Hatters into League One, and they missed the playoffs this season. But Power Court doesn't care. Piling began in January, the superstructure phase started in June, and drone footage from just this week shows the first concrete columns and structural pillars rising above ground for the first time. More than 100 workers are on site, a number expected to climb toward 300 as the build accelerates, with 7 apprentices already training on the project. The stadium's defining feature will be a suspended steel halo above the pitch, a nod to Luton's hat-making heritage, wrapped around 4 asymmetrical stands designed to echo the character of Kenilworth Road. The timeline has slipped. This was once a 2027 opening, now realistically 2030. But for a club whose current ground has away fans walking through residents' back gardens to reach the terraces, watching columns actually rise out of the old power station site is the moment this stops being a rendering and starts being a building. Racecourse Ground, Wrexham. At the world's oldest international football ground, the Kop is going vertical. After the original stand was demolished back in 2022 and a temporary structure held the fort for years, actual construction on the new 7,500-seat Kop began in December 2025, and it has moved fast since. Steelwork is now installed across the towers, the concrete cores have been topped out, and terracing is already being fitted into the lower tier. Once complete, it'll push the Racecourse ground's capacity beyond 18,000, restoring a stand that was once the largest all-standing terrace in the entire English Football League. Populous designed it, complete with dragon motifs and a nod to the local Gresford colliery disaster. Wrexham missed out on Championship promotion this year, which oddly takes some of the pressure off. There's no top-flight deadline to chase anymore, just a target of finishing the job at the end of next season. Hollywood ownership, 3 straight promotions, and now a stand rising behind the goal. The Wrexham story keeps writing new chapters. Jakemans Community Stadium, Boston United. Some of the best stories on this list aren't about ambition, they're about finishing the job. When Boston United opened their new stadium in December 2020, built through a pandemic on a tight budget with no external debt, it opened with 3 sides. The South Stand was never built, and for 6 seasons, supporters at a club that had spent nearly 2 decades clearing a previous ownership's debts stared at an open gap where a stand should be. That changed in September 2025. Steelwork went up before Christmas, and by early June, drone footage showed the roof on and interior fit out well underway. It isn't quite finished. The race now is simply to get it open before the first home game of the new season. But when it lands, it'll bring more than away terracing. The attached sports hub adds a gym, a dance studio, a soft play area, and community space open to the whole town 7 days a week. Nothing here is hundreds of millions of pounds. It's a non-league minded club, run without debt, putting up the last wall. LNER Stadium, Lincoln City. Lincoln City are trying to pull off 2 transformations at once. On the pitch, they won the League One title this season and are heading into the Championship for the first time in decades. Off it, they're racing to finish Imps territory, a multi-million-pound redevelopment of Sincil Bank, in the same summer. The project cleared all 3 planning stages in just over 4 months, and construction is now genuinely underway. The old bar behind the Rilmac stand has been ripped out, steel is going in, and a new covered fan concourse, an expanded hospitality level, and a relocated fan village with big screens are all taking shape. The scale of the ambition is matched by the scale of the deadline. CEO Liam Scully has described it as fitting 40 weeks of work into 15, with no pre-season home fixtures scheduled, so crews can work uninterrupted from the final whistle of last season to the first kick of the next. For a stadium that's been standing since 1895, it's the biggest single summer of change in a generation. Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace. 9 years after this was first proposed, Crystal Palace fans are finally watching bulldozers move. In June, the 6 houses on Woodison Close, the final formal obstacle to the £200 million main stand redevelopment, began coming down, following the club's purchase and rehousing of the remaining residents. This first phase, running until August, is about clearing the ground, houses, the fan zone, temporary buildings, with no above-ground work on the main stand or Holmesdale end just yet. That comes in phase 2, from September, when cladding and glazing start rising over what has been Selhurst Park's main stand since 1924. The finished project will transform it into a 3-tier structure holding around 13,500, taking the stadium from roughly 25,500 seats to over 34,000, while Palace keep the ground fully operational throughout. Fresh off their first major European trophy, Chairman Steve Parish has talked about building a stadium the whole of South London can be proud of. After years of stalled planning and rising costs, this summer is the first time that ambition has looked like an actual construction site. Elland Road, Leeds United. The stadium with English football's longest season ticket waiting list is finally being rebuilt. Planning permission landed in January, and by June, work was visibly underway. The West Stand ticket office demolished, the banqueting suite cleared, floodlights swapped for temporary rigging on the roof. The new West Stand will be built directly over the existing structure, a phased approach designed to keep Elland Road open and Leeds playing there throughout a project that will eventually push capacity from 37,000 to 53,000 and lift the stadium into UEFA's top category. It's being funded directly by 49ers Enterprises, and it sits inside something much bigger, a strategic partnership signed this year between the club, Leeds City Council, and the Lowy Family Group's development arm, covering up to 2,500 new homes and a multi-billion-pound regeneration of the whole area around the ground. The full project runs to 2030, but for supporters who've watched this stadium stay too small for the city's passion for 2 decades, the site of scaffolding where the banqueting suite used to be is the first real proof that it's actually happening. Villa Park, Aston Villa. We're closing on the one project with a deadline that cannot move. Villa Park is a confirmed UEFA Euro 2028 host venue, and that tournament does not wait for anyone. Preliminary works began in March, and by early June, aerial footage showed the corner sections next to the North Stand demolished, floodlights down, seats stripped from the Trinity middle tier. Rather than tearing the whole structure down, Aston Villa and contractor Kingscote Construction are extending and modernising the existing North Stand, keeping its core frame and roof while adding a new glazed exterior, expanded hospitality hospitality and more than 12,000 seats once finished. The stand will be closed for the entirety of the 2026-27 season, dropping Villa Park's capacity to around 37,000 for a full year, before reopening ahead of 2027-28 season with the stadium's overall capacity pushed past 50,000. There is no room in this timeline for delay. A club now competing in the Champions League, rebuilding one of English football's most historic grounds against a hard international clock. It's the highest stakes project on this list, and the perfect place to end it. 9 stadiums under construction, and every single one of them changing the shape of English football before our eyes. Which of these projects are you most excited to see finished? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching. See you next week.